I just found out my husband was using my pregnant sister to fulfill his own desires. I'm really struggling right now, and could use some advice from people who aren't in my immediate circle, because I'm too embarrassed to talk about it with anyone else. I'm 30 and I've been married to my husband of 32 years old for 5 years. We've been together for 7 and we met back in college. He was the first guy who made me feel comfortable in my own skin. I've always been more of a tomboy into sports, preferring jeans over dresses, and my body's more on the athletic side. Growing up wasn't always easy, but my husband loved me for who I am, and he never made me feel like I needed to change. I really thought I'd found a perfect partner. I also have a younger sister, Rosalie, 26 years old, and we've always been close. She's beautiful and effortlessly charming, the kind of person everyone just loves. Our mom has some serious narcissistic tendencies and definitely played favorites growing up, with Rosalie being the golden child. It wasn't her fault and she never asked for attention. In fact, she's always been super kind and supportive, even though she's the type who avoids confrontation and puts herself last to make others happy. So we've never really had any issues between us, but all those comparisons growing up left me with insecurities I've never fully shaken. About 2 months ago, Rosalie's long-term partner left her after finding out she was pregnant. She was devastated and we agreed she should move in with us for a while to get back on her feet. She's been staying with us ever since, and at first everything seemed fine. My husband didn't seem to act any differently, so I didn't suspect anything was wrong. A month ago though, I asked Rosalie to drop off something from my husband at work because I was swamped. I didn't think much of it, just that it would save me some time. Well, she did, and it turns out that when she got there everyone assumed she was his wife. They congratulated him on his beautiful wife and their soon-to-be son, and instead of correcting them he just went along with it. He admitted that he liked how his co-workers reacted to having a beautiful wife and a baby on the way. It made him feel good. One of his co-workers asked him where his wife was at an event, and since Rosalie had already dropped by once before, they assumed she was his wife and he didn't correct them. It made him feel validated, like he was living up to some ideal that I guess I don't fit into. I didn't find out about any of this until a few nights ago. We were out for dinner celebrating our anniversary when we ran into one of his co-workers at the restaurant. The guy asked my husband where his wife was, and when my husband said something vague about her being busy, I felt like the ground had just dropped out from under me. The date was basically ruined and we went home as soon as we ate. I confronted him as soon as we got home, and that's when he finally told me everything. To say I'm devastated would be an understatement. My husband and I had always agreed on being child-free. We had that discussion early on in our relationship and I thought we were on the same page. I don't have a strong desire to be a mom myself, partly because I have PCOS and I know it would be difficult for me to conceive. But now it feels like my husband's been using my sister to live out some fantasy life that I could never give him. Rosalie had no idea about any of this. When I told her, she was horrified. She kept apologizing, even though none of this was her fault. She feels awful and has even offered to move out, but I can't ask her to do that. She's already going through so much and I want to be there for her. But it's so awkward now. I can see how guilty and uncomfortable she feels being in the middle of this mess. This situation has also ripped open old wounds I thought I'd healed. I spent most of my 20s in therapy working on my self-esteem and trying to overcome these insecurities, especially the ones tied to growing up in Rosalie's shadow. I thought I'd finally come to a place where I could love myself for who I am. But now it feels like all that progress has been undone. Years of therapy feel wasted and I'm back to square one, questioning my worth and my place in my husband's life. Since finding out things have been incredibly strained at home. My husband and I aren't even sleeping in the same bed and we've barely spoken to each other. The trust we once have feels shattered and I have no idea how to even start repairing it. I feel so betrayed. If he can lie about something like this, what else is he hiding? Did he think I wasn't good enough to be introduced to his colleagues? And why has he never talked about his work friends before? I'm starting to wonder if he's been hiding me because he's embarrassed by who I am. This whole thing has dried up every insecurity I've ever had. I've always felt like I didn't measure up to Rosalie, even though she's never done anything to make me feel that way. But now it feels like my husband has confirmed my worst fears. He chose to pretend Rosalie was his wife because she fits some ideal image and I don't. I honestly don't know how to move forward from this. I love my husband and I want to believe this was just a huge mistake, but it feels like so much more than that. I'm also worried about how this is affecting Rosalie. She's been nothing but supportive, but I can see how uncomfortable and guilty she feels being in the middle of this. I'm really struggling here. How do I even begin to address this with my husband without it turning into a huge fight again? I feel so low, but I can't stand the idea of our relationship ending. I love this man more than anything. He keeps saying sorry and trying to plan date nights. I'm honestly not in the mood for any of it. I've cried 2 times and have binge ate more than I have ever before. How do I live my life now knowing that I'm possibly not enough for my husband?